Good morning, welcome to Movement Not Miracles. I'm Anna from Eat Move Be Happy. Movement Not Miracles is all about your bite-sized session for helping keep your joints mobile, stretch through some of the tension in your muscles and ward off some of those aches and pains. Just before we start, check out the website www.eatmovebehappy.com for lots of other ideas to look after your health and well-being. Not least of which at the moment we are running some coached programs to help you shift your eating and exercise habits. So if you find that you get stuck or you've started lots of things and then stop them, fall off the wagon, then our First Step program and our Live Better program can help you. So check out the website and stop feeling stuck. That's a top tip for the day. So Movement Not Miracles, let's crack on. A bit of an all over session today, and we're focusing on mobility. So yesterday we did a little bit more around some gentle stretches, a bit more around mobility today, and we're going to start with some shoulder rolls. So I'm doing these standing just because I spend a lot of time sitting, so it's a good opportunity for me to stand, which is good advice. Another top tip for the day: try not to sit still for long periods of time. Try and get up and move around, and when you get up, stand nice and tall with your weight evenly distributed on your left and your right side. We have terrible habits of sort of standing on one leg and putting all of our weight through one hip, one knee, one ankle. So keep your weight evenly distributed and stand nice and tall without your bum sticking out. So we don't want that happening. We want our bum tucked under and our belly supporting us and our shoulders back and down. So we're going to encourage that shoulders back and down by just rolling through the shoulders to start off with. So think of really shrugging your shoulders up towards your ears, and then as they go down, they go back. So you're squeezing your shoulder blades together. Hello, Martha. She's going to say hello. She's going to check out what we're doing. So every little millimetre of space through your shoulder joint, if you can. And if you just relax your arms, and you can encourage your arms to help that movement. And then we're going to take that into shoulder dislocates, mainly because I can get a little bit more movement through my shoulders with this, as I suspect you will be able to. So I'm using a yoga belt. You can use a dressing gown belt, any belt, anything that you can brace your hands against. I'll show you from the side. And it needs to be long enough so that you've got enough space in between your hands to get your arms all the way around. The wider your hands, the easier it is, and the belt allows you to brace. If I show you from here, so notice my bum is tucked under, no sticky out bottoms, my weight is evenly distributed, and your arms go back and over, palms up as you come down, and all the way back over. So I'm not forcing the move. And as you get to the point where that bit there for me, where I've got a nice stretch across my chest, lots of space across my collarbones, and I'm really squeezing my shoulder blades together, and I can't get as much access to that movement without using the band or using the belt. So we just do a few of these. Hands turn over so your palms are up as you come over the back. If I show you from the back, and then you'll see my t-shirt writing moving, hopefully, as my shoulder blades squeeze together. So the writing should be quite legible at the moment, and then you should see, as my shoulder blades are really squeezing there now, the writing should change. Our shoulder blades should move around on our back. If your shoulder blades get stuck and don't move as much, or your muscles supporting your shoulder blades get stiff, then we lose the mobility in our shoulders. So encouraging that movement is a really good way to look after our posture, and that one also allows us to stretch through our chest. Right, another one that's sort of continuing to work on upper back and shoulders, and again a bit more of a mobility one. So standing nice and tall, I'm just going to make sure I don't whack my fingers on the wall. Just swing your arms. So you're aiming for, again I need to just turn to the side, you're aiming for your arms out parallel to the floor. So try and lift them up beyond here. You're just working into lower range here, and you're not going to get as much movement through your shoulders, and you're not going to get the chest the stretch through your chest. I'll put my teeth in. So just some movement here, and again think of squeezing your shoulder blades together and try and keep the lower part of your body still. So we don't want to be moving through the hips, we don't want to put any pressure on that lower back, and we're just palms up and just a few swings of the arms, and then maybe a bit of a tactical shoulder waggle as well. So this move, now we're going to look for some movement in our upper back, so encouraging some movement through the spine, and you can use a wall for this one. So making sure your setup is right, your weight is evenly distributed. You need to be far enough away that you are leaning slightly into the wall, and your hands are a little bit higher than head height. So you've got an angle through your shoulders. And top tip, make sure your hands are clean. Otherwise, when you've got a nice cream wall like I have, you put fingerprints on it and that doesn't go down very well. So hands up a little bit higher than your head. You can play around with the height and where your feet are. So what we're aiming to do is just to push down through the hands and bend, get some movement through the armpits. So I think of sticking my bottom backwards and pushing through the hands so that I've got extension through my armpits, my arms are straight, and again I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together, and I've got some movement in the top of my back, and I'm just pressing my weight. I'm going to lower my arms a little bit. So you can have a bit of an experiment where you can get most movement, but we're just aiming for a little bit of movement through that upper back without letting your lower back arch. So when you're sticking your bottom back, we don't want that to happen. We need our bottom tucked under. So all the way through, if you can feel anything in your lower back, stop, set back up and start again. The setup is really important. Right, we're going to do some side bends now. These are one of my favourites for getting some more movement through your back, through all of your back, and a nice big stretch down the side. You can do these seated. You can do any of the exercises, the mobility stuff that we've done so far seated. So you can do these seated too. Again, weight evenly distributed. For standing side bends, I have my feet a little bit wider. And then we're going to start off with just reaching down one side as low as you can go, and then down the other side. Now we're going for deliberate move rather than sort of a quick move. We're going for control and to the point where we cannot go anymore. Not forcing the move, but we want as much of a side bend through that spine as we can. And try and keep your body all in a straight line. So from this way, we don't want to be leaning forwards whilst we are bending like this. We want to be staying sideways and shoulders back and down, so we're not hunched forward like this. So think about your setup, it's really important. So remind your body of the good posture that you want to encourage more often. So now we're going to introduce a stretch. So one arm goes up and stretch up first, and then reach down with the other arm and over with this one, and see how low that you can go. breathe out as you're going over, and the same on the other side. The more you reach with this arm over the top, the more of a stretch you're going to get all the way down the side. And for me anyway, it encourages some movement through my spine. Okay, so we're now going to do some work on hips and hip mobility. So it is really easy for us to stay sitting. If you imagine I'm sitting in a chair and both legs are in this position, so the muscles in the front of our hips, our hip flexors, get really short and don't do a lot of work, and so we can lose some of the mobility in our hips, and our hip joint moves more than forward and backwards. The walking move that we do, it moves a lot more than that. It's a ball and socket joint, and so encouraging some hip movement and flexibility is a good way of looking not only after your hips but also after your back, after your knees, after your shoulders. Everything's connected. So just to start off with, rather than just having your hips in this position, standing up and walking around and standing nice and tall is a good way of just getting some stretch through those hip flexor muscles. And you can just encourage some movement by literally lifting your knees up. So you're going to move your weight over to the standing leg. Notice that my body's moving from side to side, so that if you could, then you can stand on one leg and hug this knee up to the chest. Notice the chest stays high and the knee is coming up to the chest rather than me bending down. So as you lift up, and then just encourage a little bit more movement through that hip. And whilst you're there, my foot, when I do these, I automatically rotate my ankles, so my foot sort of went into automatic pilot. So whilst you're there, just rotate round through your ankle and encourage your ankle really flexing and pointing that foot. If you struggle with balance, then be close to a wall so that you can hold on if you need to, or as we're focusing on the mobility rather than the balance, sit down. So you can sit down and you can still pull your knee up towards your chest, sitting nice and tall, and twizzle your ankle round whilst you are seated. And then if you need to, you can hold onto the wall, but you can lift your hip up, out to the side and back and down. So up, out to the side and back and down. So we're aiming for as much movement through that hip joint as we can, as high as you can with that knee lift. Your leg should be about parallel to the floor, and you have to lean a little bit out to the side to get that movement. You can do a couple on one side, and then of course go for the other one as well. It's quite good for me this morning. I've done some leg work, and this is just helping my muscles work through. There you go. So just a little bit of an all over mobility. Hopefully your shoulders and your upper back feel like there's a bit more space there. Hips feel a little bit more awake. Don't forget, keep moving throughout the day. It's a really good idea to keep mobile. Do some of these moves throughout the day rather than get to the end of the day and think, oh, I'm really stiff and my back's hurting. Keeping moving and doing something regularly is better than sitting still and doing nothing. So check out the website. Let us know how you're getting on. It's really lovely to hear from people. I've had a few new people passing some comments, which is really nice. So I know it's a little bit difficult at the moment to feel as connected with people, but believe me, even though I'm just talking to my phone, it does make a huge difference, hopefully to you and definitely to me. Check out the website as well, and post how you're getting on the Facebook group. That would be fantastic. So www.eatmovebehappy.com. Have a fabulous day, and I will see you tomorrow.